Welcome back, everybody, to game number 3 between Ninjas in Pajamas versus Team Empire. Team Empire looking so damn good right now. Silent in especially, man, looking in top-notch form, showcasing some of his old strength, and this is exactly why I held Silent in such high esteem. In my opinion, he was one of the best carries in Europe for a while now, and he really showcased that strength in that last game, being able to make the comeback after being down 1-18. Silent goes on a rampage, does not die a single time in that match, and goes something like 16-0-8. Unbelievably well played by him and the rest of Empire, taking that game number 2 and leading now 2-0. Ninjas in Pajamas on the edge here of losing the winner's bracket final and having to drop down to the loser's bracket final, where they will have a second chance to face up against Balkan Bears Corleone. But let's get into game number 3, shall we? I've got my good friend Blaze is going to be joining me for this one. Nahaz stepped in for the first 2 games because Blaze had some other contracts he had to go through, was casting some other games, but Blaze is now going to be joining me for the rest of this finals and as well as the loser's bracket game. Blaze, did you watch that last game, man? One hell of a comeback.
Yeah, I got the second half there, so I didn't see exactly how well the NiP were able to perform to get that lead. I mean, I think it was 18-1 at one point, but I definitely saw the comeback. I saw Empire going from a tough position and then pulling it back and just really playing very strong as a team. I mean, overall, you got to go back to the draft and question the Tiny kind of just on his own. He gets kind of makes up for the lack of Wisp by buying Midas and Blink, so he can get that a little bit of attack speed, build up his progression, and get mobility. But at the end of the day, if he's being controlled, like the way that Empire were doing by manipulating their movement, by controlling his movement, it's just it's not the pick that'll work.
Blaze, can I get you to turn off your Dota TV sound?
Yeah.
Perfect. Sorry about that, guys. A little bit of echo. Of course, shout out to Cart, who's now going to be joining us as a stats man. Unfortunately, I didn't get him into game number 2. I was a bit slow in giving him the password. Sorry about that, Cart. But he's going to be joining me now for game number 3. And let's talk about the draft, shall we? We've got a Queen of Pain and Shadow Demon opening here for Team Empire. An opening that, again, I'm kind of expecting the Earthshaker, but Team Empire going to go for a different in support instead. The Shadow Demon, which has been rising in popularity as a support, usually being paired up with something like Alina or a Leshrac. We'll see if they do that this game, but of course, it's still a decent soft counter to the Bat Rider when the Vengeful Spirit isn't available, as NiP picked those two in conjunction with each other.
Yeah, I definitely think that's going to be the best way to keep a specific core hero alive, that they don't want to actually get caught out and burst down and such. So I think that's a pretty solid pickup. They're looking for a heavy emphasis on burst damage here. The Sonic Wave amplified by Soul Catcher is a huge chunk of HP, and they're probably looking for a heavy kind of glass cannon-y carry that they can protect with that Shadow Demon. Maybe stats-oriented because illusions are awesome, but no matter the case, Shadow Demon's going to help them out quite a bit. Either way, Zeus is going to come out, a very flexible pickup for NiP. They've run it in multiple capacities, but it seems like it could be taken to the mid lane here. They overall have great team fight, great scouting potential. Firefly, Wave of Terror, the Thunder God's Wrath, they can control the map pretty well, but let's see what they do with it. As far as building up their carries, trying to get efficient farm for them, and also build them up tanky, because like I said, Team Empire are going to be bringing in a lot of damage this game.
Ninjas in Pajamas, just with your experience of casting NiP, Blaze, where do you think they need to go? This is the first game was a very early lead by Team Empire. Good control all the way throughout, was able to close the game without dropping many mistakes. And then game number 2, NiP took an early lead, one of the biggest kill leads that I've ever seen that a team has been able to make the comeback from, and yet was still dropped the match, still Team Empire were able to make that comeback. What does NiP need to do to be able to win a game against Team Empire here? Because they seem damn near impossible to beat.
I think a little bit more mid to late game scaling focus. The problem with the Tiny there really was scaling. He doesn't necessarily fall off entirely, but the base race potential of the hero is not realized unless you have that global movement mobility. So I really feel like the Tiny, although he's a carry, he's not one that will just win the game for you by getting farm on him. And I think they could draft up something a little bit different that could create that opportunity. Here they could try to go for like Magnus and Medusa, run a Zeus support, and that could give them the scaling that they need, or maybe they just emphasize a different kind of tanky carry hero that can still have that presence in the late game. Slark is an option. It's not too bad against the Shadow Demon, but it does have its issues against the Queen of Pain, the Earthshaker. So for now, they'll leave the chips on the table, pick up the Skywrath Mage, and leave their carry for the last pick.
All right, Skywrath Mage picked up for NiP means that they have a lot. Oh man, this is such a squishy lineup out for Ninjas and Pajamas. I'm super scared that like the Queen of Pain, Earthshaker, like these big team fight heroes are just gonna wipe NiP in just like 2 ultimates, right? Because they're so damn squishy. Yes, they have a lot of power to them, and they're going to be able to get great pickoffs with the Batrider Skywrath Mage combination. The Zeus outputting a lot of team fight damage as well. A lot of bursting capabilities here, but I'm super scared that Team Empire are just going to find that one opening that is going to allow them to wipe NiP if they're not careful, just because they're running such a squishy lineup.
Yeah, and I thought the the Spectre would help out with that a lot if they were able to pick that up, still get the global presence, get some dispersion out there. But now I'm not exactly sure what they're going to pick up. They have a lot of time to think about it. But just think about the lanes that they're about to go up against. Off-lane Earthshaker, mid Queen of Pain, roaming support duo Shadow Demon Mirana. I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen Shadow Demon Mirana, but it is still as scary as ever. That setup is perfect, and it's going to be finding kills all over the place. Maybe not on the Batrider if he plays really well in his positioning, but for the most part, he'll make sure the Batrider is playing passively until he's able to jungle and tries to avoid the lane there. In the meantime, your mid Zeus is going to have a lot of trouble surviving against this ganking combo. One smoke, that's going to come out, and then obviously Venge Skywrath. You're talking about how squishy they are naturally. They don't really get to build up tanky items when they're buying Sentry Wards all the time to deal with stuff like Moonlight Shadow. So just generally speaking, it's going to be very taxing on NiP supports, and although they kind of need to go for a greedy core for Era, it's also going to be difficult to facilitate it. But here we are, Faceless Void. He kind of has a best of both worlds mentality where he can be tanky with the right item build. He can survive against difficult ganks and be active in the early game, but he still scales really, really well late game. So I think it's a really good pick, but again, it comes down to execution in the lanes if they're ever going to really get to use this.
Yeah, I think the Spectre would have been like the nicest pickup. Like it would have lacked in a lot of early game. Like you would have been left very open to a potential aggro dual lane or aggro tri-lane or something. The Faceless Void has more survivability, is more active in the early game, so I like that factor. But you can't put down the combination of the Zeus and Spectre lineup with a Batrider especially. So probably a really good ban out from Team Empire, taking away that carry, forcing NiP to go for a different hard carry and the Faceless Void. Empire going to round out their lineup with a classic Resolution SF mid. So very much going back into the old days where Silent used to play Mirana. I feel like I'm watching the old Team Empire, you know, where I'm seeing Gyrocopter, Silent playing Gyrocopter, Silent also playing now the Mirana. This is one of the few heroes that he actually would play. He always played the very mid-game aggressive heroes, but he would always hard carry with them. And Mirana was one of the few heroes that he didn't actually always run that hard carry with. And so I feel like I'm seeing all the facets of the carry Silent. You know, the first game playing the more traditional, more common build that they've been going for lately in their team dynamic, where Resolution is oftentimes taking over the harder one, and then the going back to the hard carry Silent in game 2, and now just the straight up mid-game aggression Silent with the Mirana pickup. So I'm loving everything I'm saying out here from Empire, but we'll see whether or not NiP can put together a victory here. And game number 3 is they are on edge. Just one game, they will be out of the winner's bracket final and drop down to the loser's bracket.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised to see it, but it definitely has its potential. We'll see right now a little duel between Hatskin and Resolution for the rune, but it's actually going to be an arrow just not connecting on anything, and the bounty runes are actually going to be okay here for NiP. I mean, Zeus will pick one up early. That's a very fast bottle for him, but it is going to be the support Shadow Demon to acquire the bounty rune and get halfway to level 2. Obviously, he's a hero that can gank really actively once he's level 2 or 3, and can benefit a ton from the early experience infusion. But yeah, it's definitely shows Silent's variability, because it's one of those heroes that's very unpopular in the metagame, and for him, he likes to usually just get aggressive with like BKB cores, but in this case, if he finds the right timing with the right item progression, maybe goes for a Midas to kick himself off early, then he's going to be in a good spot. But look at down bottom. Yonosomfan is actually going to be disrupted into an arrow, and I really don't know about that play, but we'll see if he can survive through it as he escapes to the north.
Yeah, Yonosomfan moves to the right, but will end up being taken down. That's going to be your first blood, secured by Silent.
First blood.
Meanwhile, the top lane, what do you think about this one? They're actually running, so we've seen the Empire do this before, the Earthshaker Queen of Pain dual lane. particularly strong when you have a carry that is not particularly strong, and this is exactly why they're going to pick off the support. Hanskin goes down as well, 2-0 already for Empire in Game 3.
Just a great start for them, and honestly, it does come down to the lanes. A little bit to the Batrider, who seemed to have a death wish a little bit with his play down bottom, but up top, it really just comes down to their laning configuration. I mean, I think the Earthshaker offlane is really strong right now, and that's why I figured that Yoku was going to pick that up there, but dual lane is actually more powerful as we see another block out and probably your third kill. He'll tango as best he can through the tree line and he will escape. But it's not like you can punish this. They just exhaust about 100 gold.
Yeah, unless they get a really lucky bash. Eric gets 1. Can he get 2? No, he doesn't.
He's like 4, dude. That's a tough kill.
Yeah, smart play there from Seal Kid. He does force him to use all of his tangos, though. He's going to completely out of regen, so that block is still effective, even if it doesn't get them the kill. It just sets Seal Kid back very far. And Yoki, this amount of harassment now is permanent, right? In a way, you could say it's permanent because Seal Kid has no regeneration to make this comeback. He has no way to be able to deal with that kind of harassment, and they'll just be less and less capable as time goes on to deal with Yoki's very harassive state in this lane.
Yeah, and it's not like Seal can just buy more tangos. Like, in this situation, he has a very finite amount of income, and he's got plenty of obligation. Gets boots, get another set of wards, get flying courier, sentry wards for the Mirana. Like, these supports are going to be so heavily taxed this game, and they have no source of income with the pulls not really working out. Like, they have a single stack on the pulls now. They can go into that, but I'm sure the Queen of Pain and Earthshaker will contest it. So, speaking of Low Dance, no magic stick just yet for him, so that's a little surprising for the Shaker.
Yeah, maybe he wants to go for the faster set of boots and is delaying that one up. No surprise, though, that Yoki picks up his, just due to the nature of the Skyreth Mage being very spammy. Magic Wand gets, obviously, a huge benefit in this 2 versus 3 lane. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, let's look at that. Limp, he was able to pick up a regen rune and sitting at 17, 18, and 0 now compared to the 17 and 4 on Resolution. So Resolution doing pretty well here in that middle lane. Slight advantage to him, but of course, both heroes, I mean, it's a farm lane through and through. SF obviously wants to sit in his lane and farm, and he's facing up against a hero that is not very far forward in lane, so it just means it's unlikely that the SF will ever be able to play that out. So unless we see some sort of rotation, should just be a farm battle in the middle lane. And then, of course, our off lane, nothing to do for Empire because they have a jungling Batrider now who is no longer in lane.
Yeah, and he is completely stackless. He has 1 stack of Mud Golems, which is absolutely useless for him, and otherwise just completely empty jungle. So this is going to be a really rough ride to his Blink Dagger. And it means also the Zeus can't Arc Lightning down any stacks for himself. So this 2 Arc Lightning build, it's okay for getting extra CS on the lane, but he's not going to be able to get any extra infusion there. They're just going to be starved for this early game. They're going to have to make it up in team fights. They're going to have to make like critical pickoffs at critical times because as it is, they're going to be very far behind. I would say actually a couple thousand net worth behind by like the 6 or 7 minute mark.
First hit bash on Aloha Dance. He does manage to get off the Fissure before the Magic Missile. Now Resolution coming in with the Haste Rune. This could be big.
Gosh.
Lands 1 raise. Stunned up by Seal Kid, but Yoki blinking forward, getting the kill on Era as he ticks out to the poison. Resolution gonna keep going for Seal Kid. Double raise to get that kill. And 4-0 now. Empire taking a commanding lead over NiP, making a statement here in game number 3.
Yeah. And showing some confidence that the Mirana can just be kind of that solo hero that has no problem dealing with the Batrider thanks to Leap. Saying, okay, if the Batrider rotates back bottom, he's only level 2, and in this case it's Skyreth down here that's just soaking up experience. So they want to commit more to the top lane. The Shadow Demon wouldn't have rotated otherwise. I mean, without the boots, he definitely didn't add to that specific gank. But down bottom,
oh, I looked away. I looked away. I was waiting for the arrow to come out. You know, I just figured like, oh, Skyreth Mage is probably going to dodge it, but Silent might try and go for the leap arrow combination. Sure enough, right as I look away, miss out on that one. Arrow does manage to get the kill on the Shadow Demon, but not really worth it when you feed Queen of Pain even more gold. He at least gets to keep his reliable gold from killing that Shadow Demon, but it's still Ninjas and Pajamas just falling apart here in the laning phase.
Yeah, Zeus did get a last hit on Earthshaker, by the way. He was kind of just really low HP up by the tier 1 tower, so that ulti did get a kill as well as an assist for Limp there. He only gets the benefit from the former, but it's still it's something. Getting some traction in this game. Kills are going to be everything for NiP. Anything that they can get is going to be huge.
2-man smoke up, Seal Kid and Hanskin rotating around. They know they need to change up. They got to shake up the laning phase a bit. Like the static setup that they have is never going to work. So they need to try and gank But unfortunately, it doesn't look like this is going to work out unless they manage to catch Silent together. But even then, I'm not sure if they get that kill. Nice arrow right into Limp. He's trying to go for this kill. Sealkid may not be in time for the stun. In fact, the Starfall gets the double hit, and now Sealkid in trouble, fighting up against a double damage Mirana. Pops the invisibility just to make sure they get that one kill. The TP out from the Skywrath Mage is successful, but still double kill for Silent as the Mirana continues to build a bigger and bigger lead up against NiP.
Yeah, the Moonlight Shadow was kind of pointless, but it's still overall like a great play there. Just to kind of finding the perfect opportunity to capitalize on the situation where he connects with the arrow with the deity rune, and it doesn't matter if the support cast is there because he's got so much at his back. They have so much coverage. Now Silent has 4 stacks of napalm, but he has the leap, so while he only may be able to face one direction, it's the direction to escape, and he'll weather the napalm stacks under tower.
Era just trying to soak up experience half the time, as every single time he shows his face, he gets a level 2 Shadow Strike and a little bit of harassment. So he's been forced to just sit back and occasionally CS under tower. Now the rotation from NiP is going to see Aloha Dance. They silence him up. Should be able to get the quick kill, as the nukes are not quite enough, but Limp will get it eventually. He still has his ultimate as well. Resolution is behind them, but Empire just back up knowing that NiP made a very big rotation. 4 different heroes now in the top lane, and all they got out of it was an Earthshaker. Perfectly acceptable. Back up and just reset.
Yeah, I almost got the Chronosphere on the Queen of Pain, canceled it at mid-animation, but if they got that and then the Zeus was able to follow up with the damage needed to bring her down in the Chrono, that would have been huge. I mean, that is a level 6 Queen of Pain since she's been doing the offlane, but she's still worth a lot. One thing to note real quick that as a kind of a nitpick is Venge is going to be maxing Wave of Terror this game. Sealkid is 1-2 right now, and he's probably going to follow that through all the way to the max, and it's really bad this game. They have very minimal right-click damage, almost entirely magical, and max magic missile, since the cooldown nerf, is pretty much the way to go here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They need a bit more control, right? They don't have that many stuns. They've got Chronosphere, big ultimate. We're not going to call that really a stun necessarily, but the smaller stuns inside the fights, I feel like you would get more value out of the magic missiles. I would agree. I can understand his idea of Wave of Terror with the Faceless Void, and it's a decent laning ability as well, but it's just, I don't think the way they're going to be able to make the comeback, especially now. Silent takes that Tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. He's going to very rapidly start building into damage as he's got his full Yasha out in just a minute here.
So right now, I mean, there's no reason for Empire not to just kind of turn up the aggression and start pushing through. There's not really much though except for the Chronosphere. I mean, the lasso's there, but there's no mobility tools for it, the Blink of the Force, so it shouldn't really be finding kill opportunities. I feel if Silent starts rotating, now that tower's gone, he can find an arrow pick off, or they can go for a Moonlight Shadow play and turn that into a Tier 1 tower.
Shadow Demon and Mirana are 277 to 249 over all patches. They have a 77.3% win rate. That is Silent's win rate right there, but I'm sure they've run a couple of support duo in the past when that was popular. Arrow's going to be able to land on Jonas and Fawn. They also have the Fisher to follow it up. Silent's going to be pulled up onto the cliff here. Silent does have a leap, though. He could potentially go for the leap Starfall, but goes for the defensive play instead. Haun's going to get it taken out there by the last raise. And, the right-hand side. Limp actually gets a bit too close. Yoki manages to get the slow and should be able to get the kill, too, as a last little scream will get it. Yoki, dominating spree for him. Pops the regen rune as well. And Queen of Pain is really the one hero that should be doing the worst on Empire, and yet he's still doing better than almost every single core on the side of NiP.
Yep, so potential arrow could come out. Dire saw it though, so they should be able to dodge this, but either way, it's going to give them vision to try to make the jump. They have the Sonic Wave. If they just get one kill, they'll have Sonic Wave on top for this fight, and that would be huge. But for now, the low HP Tier 1 tower and the Faces Void with Chronosphere, it's a little risky to group up like this, but they go.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that Empire over-aggression, but they halted it. They didn't go for the dive on the tower, anything silly. It would have been probably the wrong play with the Bat Rider sitting in the jungle there. Silent finds a haste rune for his bottle. And all the control they're doing is they're making sure they're keeping pretty good rune control there. SF going for that bottom lane. Silent getting the top one, just really making sure there's no opportunities for NiP. Because I think that's really the only way that they win real fights. Like, maybe they get a pick off here and there, but any, like, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3 fights, they're only going to be won with runes, I think, on the side of NiP, simply because they just do not have the damage or the necessary items. Like, the Blink Dagger lacking on Yonasamfon is so huge.
Yeah. And I'd love to say that, oh, Arizona's got his Mask of Madness, and although it's slow, it'll still be impactful with the Chronospheres. But honestly, he's going to be up against Fissure, the Disruption, Shadow Fiend's Yule's Arrow. Like, there's so much that's going to at least force him to keep on his feet instead of right-clicking inside the Chronosphere, and at worst, just completely disable him for the duration. It's got to come for the Skywrath hitting level 6, and that's why they're emphasizing him staying bottom so much.
Yeah, even if they do get a BKB up on him eventually, you're right, you still have the defensive disruption. They can go down. So all points of the game, you're going to have a hard time going for the Chronosphere lockdown on 1. Nice ward setup that's going to be able to set up a kill on Limp. The arrow comes in. Fissure, bada bing, bada boom. Mega kill streak now for Yoki as Empire so on point with their rotations.
Yeah, they're trying to make this a clean win. They are just looking fine right now, and they can really take this to the mid to late game too. I mean, this is just the beginning of their dominance. But right now, you've got Shadow Fiend with 36 souls and a Requiem ready to go, so he's probably going to make his move as soon as they get some good hunting vision. They already have one great lane ward, but if they can get some more offensive wards out, or even just go for a play with that invis, then that would be fine too.
Silent misses his opportunity. I think he popped his bottle, which stalled up. Never mind. He found the opportunity anyway. Hanskin is dead. Here I'm going like he missed his opportunity. He showed himself to the Bat Rider, but they're still going to get both of these kills. Yonasamfon is slowed up by the Purge. They need Yoki to blink in a good situation. Nice Fissure set up there, and the damage not quite there. Aloha Dance, he doesn't actually have Echo Slam. Lasso goes down, gonna pull back Aloha Dance. He will get the Bat Rider eventually. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Limp actually goes down to the Shadow Fiend, introducing that Yule Scepter and then the Requiem of Souls.
Oh, Chrono.
They do have that bit of damage with the Mask of Madness. Looks like they will get this kill on Resolution. It's going to be a bit close with the arrow going down. Resolution, he's stuck! Oh no! He's going to be able to blow up the SF off of his death animation. It's going to be a clean wipe there as Yoki barely survives. The SF, his death is not in vain. They get an additional 3 kills off of that one, 17-6 as NiP get wiped out.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best play they can go for is the saddest thing. Like, they get that kill on the Shadow Fiend, and it's a big kill that gives them 600 gold in favor despite their deaths. Like, you look at that fight recap, the 3 people that just died got gold out of that, which is just hilarious to me. But at the same time, that's their ideal, is finding somebody solo with the Chronosphere. Soon enough, Queen of Pain's gonna have a Yule Scepter, and while mostly that's just for mana and dealing with the Skywrath Silence, it's also a great tool for negating the Void's impact during the Chronosphere, either dodging the Chronosphere with the self-heals or using it offensively on the Void. Pre-BKB, he can do nothing in his own ultimate unless it's complete a 1v1 or a 3v1 advantage.
Do you agree with him going for the Yule Scepter here? I would 9 times out of 10 agree with it on the offlane Queen of Pain. I just felt like maybe, and it's very much on the line for me, that maybe he had enough farm in this game to go for, you know, a more mid Queen of Pain build, such as the Aghanims or Orchid.
Maybe, but look at what it's going to do. Like, if a Bat Rider blinks in and lassos somebody, you Yules them. If Faceless Foot goes in Chronosphere, you Yules them. You get hit by Skywrath Silence slow combo, Yules yourself. You're fine. It's just like, it's such a good item that can have so much variable utility, and it breaks down all of NiP's aggression. It really just prevents them from getting any kills this game.
Yeah, we've already seen Empire's attachment to the item for sure last game, with 3 different Yule Scepter being picked up. 2 of them on being on kind of atypical heroes, such as the Shadow Demon, and who else had it there? There was another hero that they had it that was kind of a little bit off. The Jagiro had one, but that's obvious. Somebody else had a Yule Scepter that was kind of like, oh, that's kind of an odd pickup. We don't see that very often.
But, I mean, it's just the thing right now. Even this disruption is pretty valuable. Just take things out of the fight for a couple of seconds there, and you're going to be able to reset with the superior cooldowns because you're using that.
Blinks away just in time. The rest of NiP are rotating around with their smoke. They might be able to counter Empires. They go for the kill onto the Bat Rider here. Yule Scepter setting up a little bit more damage. Aloha Dance getting close enough, but they have to beware. Here comes the jump in. Era manages to get 4. This could be a beautiful fight. They're going to be able to blow up Silent as well as Aloha. No, he gets off the Echo Slam, but Backtrack keeps Era alive. He does not die to that combination Always want to fly, trying to find his opening way out, but no escape. He disrupts himself, tries to buy time. That's not going to be good enough. Yoki comes in, throws out his ultimate. He may end up going down. The silence. Self-Yule Scepter in order to get rid of that one. Blink away in 5 seconds, but it's not going to be up in time. He saves the Shadow Demon, but throws away his own life in the process, and Ninjas in Pajamas just found a huge opening to make a comeback.
Yeah, that's insane. The Queen didn't even hit a Sonic Wave there. Like, just completely whiffed it at the tail end. Couldn't even clean up the Faceless Void, who ate an Echo Slam with Mask of Madness on. But Backtrack is a hell of a drug, and Era really benefiting from it there. Man, they just, I mean, the comeback is real already. Like, I knew that NiP were going to be getting their farm out of killing Empire. Like, they obviously weren't getting it off the map. When you look at CS, nobody's breaking 70 here at 16 minutes. But you get those kills, those critical kills, and you make the smoke play like that, and you can certainly build that up. So, great combo there. Zeus is now almost level 11. Era's back in the game with farm, and he's gonna feel a lot more comfortable farming out in his jungle.
Yeah, being able to get that level 2 Chronosphere pretty critical, as that cooldown reduction obviously going to play a key part here. Speaking of that, if the cooldown reduction is going to be so important, right? You're saying Ninjas in Pajamas, they have to find kills in order to make a comeback in this game. The best play is obviously going to be through Chronospheres, as we've seen what a really great Chronosphere can do for you. Do you think he should go Aghanim Scepter just off the basis of we have to win fight after fight after fight, or does he go for the more traditional hard carry build, which he was originally meant to be?
He definitely has to go for BKB first and foremost. After that, Aghanims is certainly an option, but you want to make sure that your Chrono actually does something, and that means the Void can't be disabled the entire time he's using that Chrono.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I would say damage item after BKB, and then consider like a 4th item, Aghanim Scepter. It's a little late in the game for that then, though, because then you're level 16 at the least.
Right.
But look at this, the Wave of Terror that I was criticizing earlier does pan out for them as they're able to take Roche with it. This is the only reason you really want to go max Wave of Terror, is just for the early Roche potential. I didn't see it at the time because NiP were so far behind, but now that they've taken that fight, they're actually in a great position to take Roche quickly. Medallion, Wave of Terror, it's down, and now they have the Aegis to fight with here.
And Era really wanted to go for that one. They missed the arrow on Seal Kid that could have killed him from long range without any commitment. There is still the Chronosphere up for Era and Empire. They should know that. Aloha Dance going to be caught here as Era jumps forward. Not throwing out the Chronosphere. Now throws it out. Always want to fly. He has the disruption to be able to save his ally. Era's Chrono is kind of useless here, but they still get Aloha Dance with the follow-up. Yule Scepter onto the Zeus. NiP swarming forward. They do have a good Sonic Wave that's going to be able to hit 3, but can they finish him off? They take away the Aegis of Era. Meanwhile, Ultimate laid out. Limp's going to lose his life. Resolution battling up against Hanskin as Era's going to be coming back soon, but can they get this kill first? Resolution, 140 HP. I don't think he's going to survive through that. Yoki gets the kill on him. Meanwhile, Shadow Fiend, is he still? Oh, he actually got hit by it. And he doesn't die. He lives through that. But what?
Now, on the western end, there's a 1-for-1 here.
Oh my god.
I was watching this the whole time. They were running circles around each other. The Batrider pursues the hasted Mirana. Silent Man's up against him a couple of times, misses the arrow, and in the end, they end up trading lives with the Starfall. Oh man, that was just Yankee sack music. But
yeah. I go over there and I literally get to the point where I see both of them flopping down on the floor dead. I'm just like, what in the world? So, I don't know. Blaze, what do we call that? Do we call that a successful fight for Empire because he kept Resolution alive and he lived through it? It was 3 versus 4. Or do we call it successful in the fact that NiP, they're still behind, so even when you're behind like that, you can afford to make trades that are not usually favorable for you?
I feel that part of it is the fact that NiP are behind. It's an okay fight for them, but it is still a win for Empire. They break the Aegis. They get NiP chasing in a position where they have 3 heroes chasing a hasted Mirana, and it's like, okay, well that's not gonna work. They waste a lot of time. Resolution, like you said, he gets out. So yeah, everything works out pretty well in favor of Empire. The only reason it's okay is because NiP were so
that
far
combination of damage, so overwhelming. In fact, Aloha Dance may end up going down here. Hanskin just needs one last one. Nice disruption save, beautiful setup, and Ninjas in Pajamas swarm the enemy jungle, find a pickoff, and force 2 back.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, a lot of damage, obviously, and they were almost able to get down to second hero, but just the Queen of Pain here, and didn't get the Yules off in time, I believe. So, Yeah, overall, I have to say that NiP are feeling a lot more confident about their mid to late game. I mean, they're taking fights, they use the Aegis, not really in the ideal scenario, but still able to at least get a fight with the Chronosphere and the Aegis and find an opportunity there. And they have the lasso, gonna have Force Staff pretty soon. Now Always Wanna Fly, he's definitely dead. And they're starting to actually dominate the Radiant jungle. Like, just backtrack 6 or 7 minutes ago, and if you tell me NiP is dominating the Radiant jungle 7 minutes later, I just have to call shenanigans, because that just seems ridiculous. But the comeback has been huge over the past several minutes, and they are actually taking control back over this game. They're going to take the bottom tier 1. They're getting wards up in the enemy territory. They're looking for lasso initiation. They almost have the Force Staff. And obviously the Zeus has gotten huge over the past few minutes too. A lot more damage coming out from him.
Oh, certainly. The Eul's Scepter going to add a lot more utility to him. At least he has some sort of defensive capabilities versus the SF Eul's Scepter. It's not the hardest counter in the world, but it's a soft counter.
Finds Giannis the Fan next to his tower, and he just goes for the jump and TP, blinks, uses him up, and locks him down without even using the ulti.
Bit surprised Jonas didn't even try. Oh, the leap away, not in time. Chronosphere catches him, but oh, the Fissure. Era's still in range, though. He was on top of that Fissure with the leap animation, so it's not enough to separate the two. They do still get that Mirana kill. Well worth the Chronosphere for sure.
Man, well worth a screenshot. That's interesting, seeing the leap in midair inside the Chronosphere, locked in time and space, and they do get the deny on the tower. I mean, they're going to go for a Fissure play, but in the end, the tower gets denied, and the Manta Illusions put a lot of work into that. So the fact that they don't actually get to profit from the tower last hit, it's frustrating for Silent for sure. I mean, let's look at net worth right now. Like, yes, they're still winning. They have a 10.8k net worth Shadow Fiend who's going to be approaching level 16 pretty quickly. They have a 10k net worth Mirana, but just nipping at their heels is pretty much the entirety of NiP.
Yeah, the supports certainly are not making any transition. The Shadow Demon, I suppose you don't care too much, but at the same time, Earthshaker most definitely has to have a Blink Dagger.
Next on the list for sure, but at least for now, just kind of trying to gradually farm things up piece by piece. Yeah, the Shadow Demon's probably not going to get more than just, he already got the Urn of Shadows. It might go like Vladimir's Offering. I don't know. What that Sage's Mask doesn't really seem too valuable, to be honest.
Tower is under attack.
Yules? More Yules? That'd be fun.
Probably. Seal Kid going to be found here. They lead with a Fissure, follow-up arrow from Silent, but they don't commit for the kill. They say it's not worth it. Silent actually pops the Manta in order to get rid of the silence, but does not go for that pick-off. Vengeful Spirit, not really worth the risk there.
Yeah. I've mentioned this in a cast before. It might have been co-casting with somebody else, but the reason that the Vengeance Aura is maxed out here by Silkid is it actually negates a degree of the presence or the Requiem of Souls debuff. The Requiem of Souls debuff takes your base damage down, reduces it by 50%, and that usually just cuts your damage in half. But the way that math works on the percent-based modifiers actually stacks additively instead of multiplicatively. So you're actually, with the Vengeance Aura, you're only losing 14% of your damage instead of 50%. And that actually can be really valuable for Void to keep his damage up.
BKB soon on the SF, so his full-out mid-game combination is only there. Is almost there. The item build, Eul's Scepter Blink. You really need that BKB, though, to make sure that you do get off that full Requiem of Souls, such as here in the middle lane. I don't think the Requiem is necessary, but they're going to go for it anyway. Pop the Skywrath Mage, get that quick kill, and start packing themselves away. Silent may be found here. Jonas not going to be able to have the Blink, but Era does have the Chronosphere to be able to lock down Silent, and that will assuredly be enough damage to get the kill.
Yeah. And I talked about how well they can control Era pre-BKB, or at least defensively disrupt. I'm going to find the Batrider, good raises, but still not really, without the BKB, Resolution shouldn't be here.
Yeah, he's going to be nice. Disruption goes out. Seal Kid going to be in some trouble. Jonas actually grabs Yoki. Oh, Echo Slam goes out from below. Hot Dance able to finish off that Batrider. Plus the Queen of Pain delays up a little bit more, takes some more damage. Self-Eul's Scepter buys her some more time. And I can't believe Limp, yeah, he's going to go down here. Blocked out by the Fissure. Yoki finds him. I can't believe Resolution managed to live through there. That disruption did so much, and then Jonas choosing to go for Yoki, I understand it, but it just means the SF guaranteed survived.
Yeah, absolutely, and SF is just really happy with that situation, relying on his teammates to keep him up. Unfortunately, Silent couldn't say the same. He was completely isolated in the Chronosphere, but it's still the other 4 heroes are able to fight really well even without the Mirana. This is not a single core lineup. This is not our carry is dead, let's hide in the base. This is still a lot of great spells flying out, Empire building up a lot of momentum, and soon enough this campaign is going to have that Aghanim Scepter you were looking for. Only 400 gold away from that.
Do you think there's any possibility that instead of the Aghanim Scepter, we should have been seeing something else? Like, obviously, it's a bit late for Orchid. You're probably not going to go for something like that up against, like, you know, Void, who already has BKB, Zeus, who already has Yule Scepter. But, you know, could he have built into perhaps some heavy disable with the later game Scythe of Ice, or do you agree with the Aghanims?
Well, the cool thing about Aghanims, of course, the ultimate already pierces through BKB. They're knowing that they're going to be dealing with a Void BKB very soon, and they just want more damage against him. But first and foremost, we see Silent just singling out the Skywrath Mage, Era disrupted, and disengaging before Yoku can close in on him. And Resolution should be able to get the Yules here, and actually double Yules coming out.
Oh, the Grand Tornado Seal Kid takes a double. Another Yule Scepter going out. The arrow is going to miss, actually, but they still have the nukes necessary to be able to get the kill. And that's one of the great things about Empire's lineup is that they have such long-range nukes that they're able to commit to a kill, like, right there, but still be sitting far enough back that they aren't actually over-committing too much.
But yeah, I think the Aghanims is just a really good item in general in Queen of Pain, and it's great against the fact that the Void's still going for a BKB type progression. If he wants a BKB and then Mask of Madness to keep the debuff active there, he's going to be taking a lot of damage from that Sonic Wave, and that's their main point of emphasis there. So still think damage build versus utility build works out pretty well here. There's the Aloha Dance picked up, pretty much. There's no way of him getting out of that.
Oh, the arrow snags arrow, but they have nothing to do with that. The rest of Empire already backed up, so.
So is that Roach? I mean, if you don't have to worry about Blink Echo Slams, could you just go for the pit?
I think so, very much. I mean, you already have the Batrider who's strong in the Roshan pit anyway. And you've got Era who can practically solo it up thanks to the minus armor, double minus armor now with the Medallion. So yeah, Era's going to take this Roshan seemingly for free. Silent is probably going to try and poke through. Arrow goes down, but Era's on the right-hand side. Over to the left, though. Resolution pops the ultimate. Jonas Amfan manages to get a Force Staff away and dodges that bit of damage. They're still going to try and intercept Roshan, though. NiP, are they really ready to deal with this one? The Zeus ultimate goes down. Era getting quite low. Disruption being laid down. Silent lands an arrow onto Jonas Amfan, but he doesn't have enough mana to be able to follow this one up. Roshan's still alive, but going back inside the pit. Era is going to try and go for it, but they might just be able to blow him up. No backtracks available as Yoki comes in hard and gets that kill. Fisher misses out there. Resolution on the high ground, laying down some nukes. Aloha Dance swapped into danger here. Going for Limp. Actually, it's Resolution who gets that last hit on the cliff. Aloha Dance going to die from long range, but Empire successfully contests Roshan, even if it does cost them a 2 for 3. I would say well worth it. Roshan doesn't die just yet as long as Resolution doesn't go down. He doesn't have a BKB. Yule Scepter to dodge the magic missile, but he's left alone. Queen of Pain not going to try and help out his ally, realizing that the rest of NiP are healthy enough, and Roshan now back into the favor of NiP. The trade they made off there, 2 cores for a core and 2 supports, was kind of worth it for Empire, but Resolution playing that just too aggressively.
Yeah, I mean, I really love the position he had up on the high ground south of the pit. That was really good for him to just pretty much lay suppressing fire all over the river. Anybody that was still in that area, he was able to raise, he was able to right-click, and he was able to do a ton of work from that position. But the bottom line is there's no healing for Empire. They have a finite health pool, they have no lifesteal, no mechanism. Earnest Shadows and Bottle is really all you're seeing as far as people getting their HP back. So Resolution, any damage that he took early in the fight was still hurting him later when he got engaged on 1v3. Now
Chronosphere! Oh, it catches all 4!
Leap again!
Yeah, he's going to be able to take out Aloha Dance. They also have the lasso to be able to follow up. Silent pops the Manta, trying to get himself away. Jonas Amfan on the mark, though. Yule Scepter catches out Silent. No leap away. And Era once again comes in strong. They may even wipe here as Yoki blinks himself away, but the Batrider still catching up, slowing him down with the sticky napalm. Hanskin needs to be able to get close enough to get that silence, but Yoki is already away. And still, he's super slowed down, the sticky napalm. Can they actually catch up? Concussive shot misses there, and Yoki gets away.
Still, I mean, incredible fight from NiP. This plus the fight down bottom is exactly what the NiP lineup was looking for. They were looking to just solidify their advantage through 1 or 2 really amazing chronospheres, and they're just trusting in Era to make it happen. So far he has certainly delivered, setting up all of their damage, setting up their fights and getting their kills. So 25 kills, almost half of those in like the big engagements that Era has set up, and now they have the Aegis to fall back on, stealing Ancients, taking tier 1, and there you go. And yeah, of course, like Kurt mentioned, now we're looking at the potential squishiness of the Void with the fact that Mask of Madness and Agi Power Tread sets him up for a 44% HP nuke from Queen of Pain. And that'll be even, I'm not sure, was he talking about level 11 Sonic Wave?
I think he said current level. I think he said
okay.
current level.
So it'll be even bigger for the level 16, which is coming soon.
Yeah. Boy. I mean, Era's Chronospheres have really turned this game around. The first start up there, that 4-man Chronosphere, when they rotated around behind, around the bottom tier 2 area was a huge setup in the first place, but now that next one on the Roshan pit, Era just doing so much work. A lot of that comes down to the ward and the counter ward that was placed in the Roshan area. That set up Era to have that confidence to be able to make that kind of play, but Era is the one who's actually making all the execution for NiP to make this comeback in game number 3 here. It's 30 to 25 right now, 31 minutes in. The experience lead finally in the favor of NiP for the first time all game long, and a very slight gold lead for Empire. But if NiP just get the Roshan or perhaps get a tower into their hands, that will then go their way.
More than 2 heroes per average Chronosphere. Really good numbers compared to a lot of other carry Void players. Like, I think Universe obviously is probably one of the highest, but like Era is not too shabby at all with the ones he's been landing this game and historically. But I really like the way Limp is using his ultimates. When they know that they're not going to be fighting, but going for like a Chronosphere engagement anytime soon, he just goes for the scouting ultimates. This is kind of his patented thing, is all these scouting Zeus ultis, but it actually saved his life down on bottom when the SF was looking to blink Requiem him. So that was just lucky a little bit, but essentially they know that Empire can't engage into the Aegis, and as such, they're perfectly willing to play as such.
Nice flames there, Cart.
Excellent.
Nice flames. Oh, I didn't even know you could record allies.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, who coded that? Just to be looking for the worst voids of all time. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, Shatter Demon. 5-man smoke up here from NiP, as it looks like they may catch out Aloha Dance. He shows his Fisher. Yono some fun. Yeah, he's gonna take that kill. I agree. I think they really wanted to find more there, but at a certain point they realized, okay, we're just going to have to take that Earthshaker kill. They could probably push the tier 1 tower. Well, not yet, actually. The creep wave's pushing in so heavily.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yep, so not much to do here but go back to farming. I mean, it's not like the smokes are the most critical of times when Roshan is down, but they will have to probably save their next smoke, restock in 8 minutes. That's probably going to be used for the Rosh engage. Hopefully a backup and available at that point in time, because it's still critical for them to move very intelligently. If not, they're going to have to use this Gem and Truth site very frequently on this kind of general area, by the Secret Shop, by the Roche Plateau. Like, those spots have to be dewarded a lot from the Batrider, or else the lack of smoke is going to hurt them for the next Roche. But Batrider caught out and should be getting that gem away. No! Oh my goodness.
He's actually stuck in the trees, but they got to get out here. Yule Scepter onto the Faceless Void, trying to make that jump. Always want to fly, takes a bit of damage, but the invisibility and the quick retreat will be able to get Empire away to safety, but their tier 1 tower is going to fall down in exchange. They're trying to push down the tier 2 tower in bottom lane with the double damage on Yoki and Resolution. They're going to bring it low, but not quite low enough. NiP coming in force. Will be able to force Empire back once again. No fair trade-off for Empire.
Yeah, with the Zeus ulti on cooldown, they can make that kind of retreat where they go for the last couple of hits on the tower and then they disengage. Zeus ulti's off cooldown, then it's a different story. But Batrider will catch out Silent. Air's just going to right-click him down, try to his leap's on cooldown. So
oh boy, Silence! He's got 1 second here for the leap. Oh, the Chronosphere to spoil the escape. Wasn't sure if Arrow was actually going to try and commit the Chronosphere there, but wise call, knowing that the leap was probably going to be the instant play and he might not get the kill. Fisher, no, Aloha Dance not going for that one. Meanwhile, in the river, Yoki, very fortunate to not go into the river because there was a whole bunch of NiP members nearby.
So this is actually when Silent respawns, probably the best time for them to fight, but I doubt they're going to be able to find an engagement within the 30-second time window between Mirana's respawn and the Void's Chrono cooldown. He's at level 16 now. it's a much smaller window of opportunity with that ultimate on CD, and as such, it's just probably going to be, again, a farm game, maybe a smoke deceit play. They need to get the Batrider's gem away, I think, is the most important thing this game. They've got so many tools for initiating and picking him off. Like, you've got so many Yule Scepters, you would assume his Blink Dagger could be disabled. But, yeah, the bottom line is if they can get that gem back, they can start warding around the Roche Pit and really spoil NiP's chance for that third Aegis, and Chiefs, for that matter. But until that time, it's just a farm game.
Do you think that that Empire, obviously they wanted to be able to take over the mid-game, but lost control due to some bad team fights. Now they're going to be kind of forced going late game. Do you think they have superior late game, seeing as they have 3 different cores? Even if they aren't the hardest carries in the world, it is still a 3-core lineup in a way. While NiP are really just left with the sustained damage of the Faceless Void and the magic damage of Zeus.
Yeah, I mean, they have, I would say they have an above average late game by comparison, because what you're going to see the Queen of Pain progress into is BKB for now, but Scythe and Refresher later, and those are going to be huge. Double Hex, double Sonic Wave, agged up against the Faceless Void. Like, Era is the reason NiP are good throughout this. I was going to say mid to late game, but hell, he was the reason they're even sort of chance in the early game was those Chronospheres. So I would have to say that at all stages of the game, the Void is what made NiP's draft work. But if they have the double Hex, if they have arrow pickoffs as well that he has to worry about constantly, then there's going to be a point in time where Era just dies and there's nothing he can do about it because he's just so well controlled. So I would have to say that Empire have a decent point of leverage with the control they'll have come late game.
Real quick, while we follow this smoke gang from Empire, we do have some items. Scotty on the SF, BKB now finished up on Yoki. Mirana also going to be going for a BKB. We'll talk about the NiP items in a second here, as it looks like the smoke is going to fail. So the finished up Bloodstone Yule's Blink Dagger. We have Era now building into a good amount of damage. He finished up the Mjolnir, already has a Demon Edge that is going to be allowing him to build into an MKB versus the Butterfly that the SF no doubt is eventually going to pick up, but kind of getting ahead of it? Or do you think he just wants the raw damage of Daedalus to start with, since there is no butterflies yet on the side of Empire? Oh, Echo Slam leading onto Arrow. They have the arrow coming in, but it hits the Ancients, and now the swap out. Arrow's going to be able to survive for a bit longer. He's got the Chronosphere ready to go. Sonic Wave laid down. Aloha Dance hiding in the corner, but he will end up dying to the Zeus. Now the Chronosphere locking down 3. Good setup as now they drop the Sky Earth Mage ultimate onto 2. Arrow comes in. Self-Yule Scepter. Silent trying to get some damage out onto Arrow. He lands the arrow. Is it going to be enough right-click damage? Arrow barely dies, and now the SF will die in return. The ultimate goes out. Yoki caught out by Yule Scepter after Yule Scepter blinks away and should be able to get the distance necessary. But man, that was another great setup there from Era, holding on to the Chronosphere for quite a long time, and finally was able to get off the perfect Chronosphere, catching 3 and not catching any allies, which was the important part of that.
Most definitely, but it also comes down to a couple things. The sacrificial swap from Venge saves the day 100%. Yes. Otherwise, Arrow is dead to rights there. And also the Ancient block. The fact that Ancient creeps were there, they block the arrow that was sent in from Silent, and that also keeps the Void in the action, allows him to pop his BKB. So the Void actually being enabled to make that play happen, and the Chronosphere just cinching the win in that team fight. Really huge, really monumental for NiP as they look for Roche number 3. And beyond that, just building up their items. I mean, now that Daedalus that you were talking about, possibly MKB, but probably Daedalus, will be coming out very shortly. And of course, everybody else gets items too. I mean, the Batrider is... does he need anything more than just BKB and Refresher? I'm not sure.
Yule Scepter, they do have the Fissure laid out. Jonas Safan is on the other side of the Fissure, but do they have enough with all these Yules to be able to hold in the Batrider? Apparently not. Aloha Dance, he's now going to be in some trouble. Always Want to Fly also needs to get out. Aloha Dance is very dead. Jonas Safan is already out. The swap goes down. Always Want to Fly going to pay for not backing up as the swap catches him out. Now Yoki, he's got to be careful. Jonas Safan does have a lasso. They're going to try and burst him down. He gets off the BKB. Very critical part of this engagement because there's going to be no combo. Era comes in with the Chronosphere. Never mind. Saves Jonas Safan and gets the kill on the Queen of Pain in the process. You might as well go back and do Roshan since you just won the fight right next to the pit.
Yeah, and it pretty much just spawned, so perfect time for that to happen. Era, again, just doing what he needs to do with the Chronosphere. Did it on top lane to finish off the Mirana in this case. He is able to finish off his target, and one big aspect of that fight was, again, Shadow Demon is having trouble preventing blinks. Like, he's using Disruption with his Shadow Poison stacks, and then assuming that the blink's on cooldown, when it certainly is not. You have to either hit them within 0.5 seconds of the disruption, or immediately after it. And so far, it's been just the Batrider for the second time, critically, has blinked out of the disruption, gets away from the Queen of Pain that way, and it turns into just everything going up NiP. They don't even get the Batrider, they don't have a chance at the gem, they just kind of break like water on rock. They really are having trouble making these fights connect and preventing these blinks, despite being a 3 Euls draft. It's kind of mind-blowing.
I said we would talk about the NiP items. There's a lot of them. We've got the Refresher picked up by Limp. MKB is going to be the next item for Era. We also have some fun with a Boots of Travel, Yule's Scepter, Blink Dagger, Force Staff, as well as a gem. And our latest pickup, I believe, was a Force Staff on Hanskin.
Yeah, so good mobility on him. Not very tanky, but it's not like anybody's running Blade Mail or anything like that, so he can kind of just stay as far away from the fight as possible. Use Blink and Force to get in, and just drop his kind of Ion Cannon there. But beyond that, Avenge just kind of playing the full 5 positions. He's still down at 5,800 net worth on the winning team, and it's going to be a while before she builds up much of anything. More mobility would be good, auras would be great, but no matter the case, just farm overall for the cores is huge. And yeah, like you said, Era worried about a potential butterfly, did go for the MKB.
And once they have that, I see nothing stopping NiP from pushing in. I really don't. I mean, they just had that Refresher upgrade. That's huge. They've got Aegis and Cheese. I mean, NiP have hit a serious peak of power, and they won't get another one of these for another 5 or 6 minutes, right, where they get the next set of items potentially. But I don't think it's necessary to wait that out. Empire think they're more than weak enough that NiP can actually take them in a fight uphill, but we'll see.
Oh, the Yules catch out. They have the ward up here, but Batrider immediately pops the BKB. So he's slowed by Scotty and Purge, but he still is gonna survive.
Ooh, Sonic Wave does a good amount of damage there. The arrow comes out, gonna land on the, never mind, doesn't land at all. And Hanskin, well, maybe he's going to go down. Another Force Staff up the cliff. This cliff is just getting used so much right now as Mirana's going to come in. Another Era Chronosphere to be able to save an ally and get a kill. Silent ends up falling. And the BKB, the very late BKB pickup by him, is going to do nothing now. Now that the Faceless Void is more than enough physical damage to take him out inside of the Chronosphere.
That was not the play. Silent going in solo, just saying, okay, well, I can take down some support Skyred. But everyone's there. Very clearly, NiP moved everybody in for that gank train, and the end result is Silent just YOLOing it in a way that'll cost them dearly. They'll lose more wards thanks to the Batrider's gem, they'll lose their tier 2 tower, and I could see some tier 3 pressure coming. It's a little scary. I mean, you look at the AoE, the Shadow Demon does an insane amount of magical damage over time as he builds up the stacks. The Earthshaker controls that high ground really well with the Fissure, and then of course there's the 40-second cooldown Sonic Wave, which will just annihilate anything for a single wave. So generally speaking, you don't want to really force it until you have that insurmountable advantage, but at some time, you just have to commit to it. So we'll see. I guess they'll take out the 2 outer tier towers first.
So looks like they're going to go for the middle tower first with this 4-man push that they've got going on. The Batrider does have a Boots of Travel, so he can join them in 20 seconds time. I kind of doubt Empire are going to try and fight this one.
Have you seen Limp's items, by the way? He's got 17 Bloodstone charges.
Oh,
he has a cheese, and he has a Refresher. Like, just...
The guy's a monster.
Yeah. And there's no limited HP pools on the side of Empire. They do have 3 BKBs, they do have a few Yules, so they'll try to negate the damage as best they can. But end of the day, when those ultis connect, if they just even use the ultimates before the fight even begins, then that's a lot of HP taken away, and the people with BKB active are half HP.
They find Aloha Dance. They were going for the pickoff there. 2-man rotation up to the top lane to try and get the Queen of Pain. The Zeus ultimate popped to reveal both of them. And while they both try and TP out, it's Aloha Dance who gets caught by the Batrider. Again, the Yule's Scepter coming into play.
And along with that, Zeus, of course, has a 20-second respawn if he does get killed off. So big AoE heal for his teammates, quick respawn, and he can even suicide if he looks like he's going to go down and doesn't want to feed their side's comeback gold. Because this time around, like we were talking about, NiP just looking for kills, trying to get a little bit of that rubber band swing back in their favor. Well, if you look at the graphs, their lead is so much greater than anything that was ever accumulated by Empire. Empire, in like 13 minutes into the game, were almost 10,000 net worth up. And now they're looking at about 14,000 deficit here 30 minutes later. And Kurt, I'd love to see some stats on the, like, what is it, 13-minute, 10,000 net worth advantage, and how abysmally Empire have been able to take that and turn that into a win.
Want to have a guess on percentages? I'm going to say it's like a 75% win rate. 10,000 by 15 minutes.
The other way around, almost 10,000 at 13.
Yeah, so I think he's going to have to do 10K by 15 minutes, I think is how that works.
Okay.
I would say it's about I'm going to go down to like 72%. 72%
Really?
Win rate is what I would say.
I'd say 80s.
Yeah?
So we'll see.
Okay. All right, it's 32-36. We're just basically waiting out Ninjas in Pajamas to either find the pick-off that gives them confidence to be able to push uphill, or farm up the items that they basically get 6-slotted and maybe wait out another Roshan before they go uphill, as they've already lost that Aegis, and Roshan is going to be coming up in a few more minutes. So it looks like that's what they're going to wait on. And I would normally be concerned that they're waiting this long, but to be honest, looking at Empire, they really haven't been able to farm up that much. Oh my god!
Yeah, I thought it would be more. I like, you made me second guess myself. I was gonna say easily like upper, like at least the lower 90s. Oh wow, Lincoln from Batrag gets destroyed by Yules, but it looks like he'll disengage clean. But yeah, I was gonna say like the at least lower 90s, and then you said 70. I'm like, oh, I gotta meet in the middle somewhere. So I second guessed myself. But no, that's a huge advantage to throw away.
Jesus. I'm actually kind of flabbergasted just because I thought, you know, like with the whole everybody talking about, oh, comeback mechanics, you know, everybody's talking about, oh, we get these leads and we can't actually end the game. Silent's going to go down. I thought it would actually be significantly lower, but apparently not.
Nah, Nahaz, he put out that really nice chart that was just kind of talking about the different patches, the different win rates based on net worth advantage, and it actually, like, it's been equal or greater of early net worth advantage resulting in the win. It just takes a little bit longer, that's all.
Yeah, I remember that stat. And then immediately had a game where there was like a 25,000 net worth lead on somebody on some team. I can't remember what game it was, but it was just like they continue to farm up. Top lane, they're going to get the kill on Yoki. Era is going to be hit by the Fisher. Oh, God. Oh, no. Mistakes were made. Big ballsy mistakes. Oh, dear. I mean, I'm not even sure if that Echo Slam in any world would have actually gotten them a kill, but Resolution trying to go for the ultimate here, trying to blow up Arrow. The right clicks, are they going to be enough? They get the kill. Resolution now going to be controlled by the lasso as his BKB fades. Limp is finally able to get some damage out. Can Resolution escape? Doesn't look like it. Run down Sonic Wave onto Limp. Does some damage. Yoki's going to actually pop his BKB and try and deliver out justice for his allies, but there is no way. Ninjas in Pajamas more than strong enough. In fact, they're going to blink aggressively forward and go for this kill. Silent comes in. Era misses. Seal Scepter in order to dodge some of that damage. Limp gets low. Pops Cheese trying to TP out. Will be able to successfully get himself away, as Silent blowing the arrow earlier and missing it results in a missed out kill.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, NiP, they have just been performing spectacularly, and Empire are flubbing it a little bit here. I mean, this is the match point. They can easily take this match away, but this third game is giving them so much trouble, and it's getting harder and harder. Now, the Refresher Blink Zeus has a Hex, and he's pretty much 6-slotted at this point. Like, you don't get bigger than this. You can get a little bit more damage if you go for your 7th item slot of an Aghanim Scepter. But otherwise, he's in a pretty good spot right now. We do see Fan playing King of the Hill.
Oh, Jesus, Yoki. This is a YOLO fight, that's for sure. Yoki is going to immediately die as he blinks into 4. Thinking perhaps.
He bought back in the last engagement.
Yeah.
And he just did that. Oh, my. They're misreading this area, like, completely in who has better control. Like, yes, you have Blink Daggers, but they have a Zeus, and he's using Static Field to constantly put it on cooldown. Caramba.
You were focusing on the positive sides of NiP and the amount of farm that they've been able to pick up. I'm going to look at the negative sides of Empire here and talk about this Mirana, who's sitting at 14,000 net worth, which is below the Skywrath Mage now.
Yeah, that's
The
a
one
terrible
position, the safe lane, people will get on me for saying one position. Safe lane farming Mirana.
Roshan has fallen to the
No, I mean, I think that one... Oh, okay, actually, a dance, yeah. But it's just that kind of stuff is going to keep happening. It's difficult to control the map and being that pushed out. The problem is they took Roshan along with that, so another set of Aegis and Cheese. But yeah, honestly, one thing about Core Mirana is I feel not only is she not the ideal hero to have in the latest stage of the game, but I also feel like she is compelled to be so active and involved with her skill set that she doesn't really get a chance to just farm. Like only 220 CS on Silent, that's extremely low. I'd maybe had a mind
Swap,
to change
resolution, immediate sight device, good setup there. That was the combination. The sight device prepped up on the SF into the swap. Silent. Oh, God.
Did he just walk in?
Yes,
Did he just walk in?
He just walked into the Chronosphere, and he will now die for his foolishness. Empire done. Empire, I mean, Aaron may actually die here to the explosion of resolution. No, he's actually going to be able to get out and will be able to survive inside the fountain. They do finally finish off that Aegis on Era. But I don't know, with the way Empire are playing, it just seems like they've given up. They're just like throwing heroes now at NiP and just hoping something will land, but it's no longer the controlled Empire. It's no longer the, you know, strategic outmaneuvering that we saw in game number 1, game number 2. Now it's just full on, we're losing this game, just run at them.
It's chaos. It really is. Empire have just kind of thrown caution to the wind and just say, go, 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 make something happen. And for the most part, that strategy has eluded them. They're not really able to pull forward. They're slipping away, and they're about to lose their pretty much 95% guaranteed win from the early game. But yeah, I mean, Silent hasn't really taken a lot on his shoulders here. Like, he tried to do so much as far as getting involved in kills, and he has had some impact on this game. I mean, 7 kills, 9 assists, but he hasn't been farming well enough. And Batrider gonna get picked. I mean, that's 3v1, a nice opening. The Geometry Sight, not as valuable as it once was, but it's there.
All right, so NiP have a 2% win percentage lead over Empire when they had that 10K by 15 minutes.
I don't know if that's how the math works.
That's totally how the math works there. All right? I know. Nahaz taught me. I'm his student.
Excellent. I'm just waiting for him to flame you in chat for that. Oh, the tables have turned indeed. 95% chance to win the game originally, and now 97% to win it for NiP. We've seen the unthrowable. Let's see it thrown all the way back. I guess that's the way I'll look at it. I don't see it happening, but the statistics are there. We've already seen it all once this game.
Yeah, we've seen these exact kind of engagements too. Aloha Dance, well, he lost his Blink Dagger due to static field, now going to be caught out. Arrow lands, but a Chronosphere going to be set up on 2. That's both of them down. Even if Yoki does manage to get the Vengeful Spirit, who cares, to be honest? Era's still very big and very scary. As the rest of Empire need to try and back themselves out. Era, okay, he's going to run away. Doesn't want to fight Empire anymore with his BKB down. And Empire pushing out, just hoping to catch something. But they will not find ninjas in pajamas. They're ninjas, after all. They hide in the darkness.
Sneaky. That's just too much for Empire to deal with right now, and the death of the Silent is just putting him further into that like pseudo-support position. Like, he's not able to right-click at the level they need him to. The AC of the SF will help a bit, but mostly it's just the SF doing the heavy lifting. And the Queen of Pain as well. Like, she's a late game carry to an extent, because she could go for the Hex and try to control the Void, who will otherwise be dropping 2 Chronospheres on top of them. Era has enough gold for the Refresher Orb, and it's coming out of the courier now.
Oh dear.
Doesn't have the mana though. Arcanes. Nope, nobody has arcane boots.
Okay. Well,
what's the? I mean, he literally has the mana if he doesn't time walk. Doesn't use Mjolnir at all.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I guess somebody passed him a
like
cheese.
Manta and Aghanims with the refresher build. Something else to help. I guess he can drop the Mask of Madness.
Go for Scotty next instead of the Mask of Madness.
Drop the MKB too. That's not doing that much.
Drop the MKB. Yeah. There's no evasion. Whatever. Speaking of that, how's Empire's items looking? Non-existent. Scythe of Ice. Ooh, okay. You mentioned that. Yoki finally finishes that one up. Yeah, it's just so hard to beat out a Faceless Void in the late game. All right, Desperation Smoke, Empire. Got a 2% chance to win this game. Let's go. Already the smoke is popped. Not the setup you wanted. They get spotted out. They're going to be able to grab. Always want to fly to disable up Resolution. He's going to be popped nice and quick. The BKB. Yule Scepter to dodge, but Air is there. Sight device controlling him as best as possible. The Force Staff gets him away. BKB activated. Swap goes down. Anything to make sure that Era does not get stun locked any further. And Aloha Dance, a valiant attempt, my friend, to use the Enchant Totem onto Era, but it's not going to win you the fight. Morana also ends up going down while Resolution survives by the skin of his teeth. It doesn't make a difference. Empire still lose 3 and probably will be losing finally their first set of racks.
Man, just backtracking everything, go again, no problem at all, cleaning it up, and that's not with a single Chronosphere used. They're scrambling and they're in chaos mode from the beginning trying to avoid this Chrono, to the point that the threat of it is enough for them to win the fight. He doesn't actually cast one of his 2 Chronospheres, and they still put out enough damage to clean up 3. Now, the last stand from Empire. Oh man, they were so close to just taking an easy 3-0 and looking really good against NiP in those power rankings, but now it is Era demolishing the racks with 2 Chronos available and having the mana for it too.
Oh dear, Yoki's going to be picked off by the Blink Sight device. Yules for Yules for Yules, Yules, Yules. Racks on racks on racks, Yules on Yules on Yules. And there's the GG. So they'll finally call it. The NiP managed to make the comeback in game number 3. Keeps their hopes alive for just a little bit longer. They are still down, still need 2 more victories to be able to beat out Empire in this Dota 2 Champions League Season 5 winner bracket finals. The winner does advance to the LAN. The loser drops down to the losers bracket finals, where they will have another chance to play this one out. But we're going to take a short break. When we get back from the break, we'll have game number 4. Stick around, guys.